So in this video we will cover the only thing we need to remember, that is the frequency of the air that we breathe, that covers the entire solutions for mental and physical diseases. So we will cover what it is, how it functions, and what are the solutions if the air that we breathe does not sustain us any longer. So we do know that we all have a breathing system. Bringing air in the body makes up the cellular construction and brings that up into living, vibrant molecules. Yet, when the air that we breathe in the outside world is no longer sustainable, how can it sustain our body? Then the air that we breathe makes up what we become, because it is the first original component that made us part of that huge star system or stardom. And so we came into creation with that huge breathing system that was cut down to the lowest level ever by birthing into ego consciousness. And as we are all spiritual beings, spirits rising in the skies, then we can claim that pure air back on the planet. So it's very, very important. You know that song, all I need is the air that I breathe and to love you. Well, that is the exactitude. If you could breathe that high level air just to love you, you wouldn't need any physical food, any water, any nothing, and you become self-sustainable, because that is the only thing that came into creation, working with all the other elements in the body, making up the body of water, the body of air, the body of earth, the body of the ethers, and your fire engine. Everything comes together through the air that you breathe. So let's break that down and let's look at the respiratory system and how you can maintain it, because its main functions include transporting air into and out of the lungs, protecting the body against harmful particles that are inhaled, and its most important exchange of oxygen, carbon dioxide. So it's basically about breathing. And let's have a look at the diagram. We go through the respiratory system. The nose, nasal captivity, the mouth, the oral captivity, the pharynx is there, the throat, and as well as the respiratory system, and your tongue, which is very important as well. So it connects the respiratory system openings into the diagram. And next we have here the entire larynx, which is also called the voice box, because the vocal cords are located, called the windpipe is there, and it connects to the bronchi, which merges into the bronchioles, the bronchiole sacs, called alveoli. And then down here in the diagram, now let's go to a very basic look at what happens during the breathing system. Through the nose or through the mouth, when it enters through the nose, the air and trap out of these shell-like things here are called some inhaled particles. They also warm the air, and the air next passes through the pharynx, the trachea out there, like a little flap is there. And so that flap is like a structure that is very important, because during the breathing system it is pointed upward, allowing airflow, and during swallowing it falls down to prevent food from going down in the trachea. So we need to prevent the food into the esophagus. So it's a very genius-like system. The epiglottis, there's a thing that shows how amazing it is to have the airflow in the body, continues down the trachea and in the smaller bronchioles, finally in the alveoli, surrounded by a network of capillaries. So that is very important here, because the magic happens when oxygen enters the alveolar sacs and the exchange takes place, so the capillaries can pick up the oxygen, and so the carbon dioxide is then exhaled through the air passages the oxygen was inhaled through, and then the blood returns to the heart. So it's an entire blood pumping system actually, and the diaphragm starts contracting when we breathe in and we breathe out. And so yeah, it's very important to realize how many disorders could be preventing from breathing in the right air component. So how can we understand that we need the right air components and decipher what is okay and what is not no longer okay? As we know by now, during the past 3 years, we've seen enough of bacteria and falseness in the news, the deceit, the betrayal, whatever there is. Yet there is a huge system that overrides the matrix. The matrix was created to create negativity, density, then cell destructed nature, destructed the pure airflow in the waters, in our oceans and everything. There is enough, of plastics out there, and synthetic foods kill the body, kills the oxygen, kills the pure air. I do know there's many of you out there, who realize, like, go to the mountain air, breathe that fresh air, and or go to the seaside and have that fresh air. It's innate. It is knowledge. We do remember, somehow it makes sense. But this time around, the entire ecosystem has been killed, and so a new system has been created that overrides the negativity, the density of the earth. It's called the crystalline grids that override anything that is dense breathing or breathing in the toxins of modern day society. And moving out of that means you repair your entire consciousness, you repair any disease, you repair your bodily functions, and you become a complete different entity, because you rise out of ego and up into spirit consciousness. And spirit consciousness, that is your straight alignment back to your source. Remember, the source stone cracked in middle, and so the betrayal started, the disease started. If you think about the airplane with its businesses, its economics and everything, that has been, cracked down to 0.0, that is a factor that creates more and more dense air in your system, in your environment, in everything. So what can we do to get out of it? Many, many easy things, and yet it requires you to decide, either remain in the matrix or remain in the spheres of crystalline light components, light substances, through which you start to breathe pure air. So that needs some reconstruction through the body, and that in the first place it needs the clearing of the lungs, the bronchia, the bronchial tubes, the pulmonary arteries, the entire blood circulation, and then opening up from the dense breathing into the breathing system that is connected to your source, or that is termed the breath of source. From the breath of source, you elongate your spinal column, you start breathing, and you stop functioning like you did until right now, until this video, because you can do it. And the way to do it is clearing that out, opening up into the breath of light. The breath of light opens up in a crystalline light grid. Light need to match light. The matrix matches the darkness in your body. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. So if you're new, thank you for subscribing, liking, and circulating the video out there, because I will come up with truth contents never heard before. My scientific research showed me over the past 20 years, I have been repairing like many, many lungs, many entities, and helping them rise from an exhausting, platform of living into a vibrant, passionate being, cutting the cords of old malfunctioning, old diseases, mental diseases, psychological diseases, because these are essentially the nucleus of all physical diseases. And whatever we breathe out there, that is negativity, density in consciousness, translates itself in every cell that we have. And so the cells are already returning in light organism, because the earth is ascending into light organism. So we need to match that. We can no longer eat these synthetic foods. We can no longer eat fruits and vegetables and anything that is, not to talk about animal foods, because you just cut your air down to that low instinct, and that is all there is to it. So when I breathe in, I can breathe as long as I want, and then I breathe out. So with each in-breath, I expand and I expand and expand. What did I have to do for that? I needed to clear myself inside out and keep the breath getting up to all 12 dimensions, 12 universes, the new tree of life, the new Kabbalah, your light body, that is the Merkava. I have 2 videos out there for those who didn't see it. And that is really moving with all parallel universes. So there's part 1 and part 2 about the Kabbalah, the new tree of life. And it has a course that goes into the new breathing system. So apart from that, I offer you solutions in which you can, in small solutions eventually, in which you can install a crystalline grid, and that teaches you how to set up a quick light body, your chakra system up until it moves into a pillar of light, and you start to clear in the first place the air that you breathe in your home. Does that make sense? The air that you breathe in your space in the home, because it has become unthinkable that we move without the medication that is within your meditational alignments. Everything is alignment. I align 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night. I'm fit as hell. I'm more fit than I was in my 50s. So I hope to make it to a few hundred years, and so can you. And all that is, remember, the air that you breathe is the air that either makes you or breaks you. That's all I can say about it. And so the next videos, I will break that more and more down. So there's always a starting point. I specialize in lung diseases. In a few sessions, I can heal somebody out who has been struggling for 20 or 30 years with their lungs. So how about that? That is the science of light moving on the earth for you to partake of. So think about it. Let me know what you think about the air that you breathe. Can you put consciousness on it? Yes, of course you can. You can command the fresh air from the highest mountain top in France, for example. You can demand your source, the universes, to download, to give you a clear view of where the air is the pure. But the easiest way is still installing the pure breath of light in your home, and that comes with a crystalline grid. And these grids start communicating with you, and you start purifying with each breath, and you command or consciousness you want on it. Crystals, I could live on crystals only. They communicate all of the time. Of course, there's upgrade. Today we learn about crystals, no more in the kindergarten in books, but that PhD mastery degree with crystals and breathing through them, allowing the information to come through, meaning the many levels of your higher self are downgraded. Without it, you get lost. If you keep unwinding into the density of earth, it's not only about rewiring the brain, rewiring the body, it is the knowledge and understanding it. Understanding can only come true when having the experience. I can blabber as much as you want. If you don't upgrade your air components with minuscule, you know, effort, and at least going to a 5-day online, it's in the description box, and where you learn to install light so you can start to work with light. And that is when everything you do in your meditation becomes logic, becomes fun, becomes passion. And that is where your life, your entire lifestyle gets redirected with the purity of the air that you breathe, so you remember your origin and get passionate about yourself, disease-free at all times. So how about that? Thank you for commenting. Thank you for letting me know if you struggle with air components, your lungs, or you know, the throat area, or your brain, or your capacity to think. I will cover that certainly in a next video and try to assist and answer as many questions as you have, as that is what I love to do. So thank you so much for being with me. If this video was of value to you, thank you for subscribing and coming back in the next video. So from now on, and so do have a look as well as I bring out messages for the entire zodiac sign, moving astronomical out of the astral planes, or astrology astronomical. So I have the first ones out there with the alignments 22-24 and what it is about, and I have a next series coming out right now, that is how to get into your authenticity connected to your specific birth chart. So thank you so much for appreciating. See you next time. Okay, I'm Charlotte Chi, logging out.